Can you tell us more about living in West Oakland and your experiences?
Well, it was wonderful once. We had a lot of stuff in West Oakland. Black corner stores, nice eating places, places to go to enjoy. And I remember West Oakland where we had a theater, bowling alleys. We had all that kind of stuff around 7th Street. But what made West Oakland bad, really bad, was post office when it come through. It took a lot of their business away because they tore it down and built the big building that they have there for the post office. But it created jobs, but they still had a hard time. We still had a hard time getting a job working in the post office. Now, the post office is, government want to wipe it out simply because it's in our favor in helping us to volunteer to vote. You don't have to stand in the lines and be mistreated. You can do it through the mail. They want to cut that out. They want to just eliminate it. So we got to do something about that.
We definitely want to save the post office.
Yeah. Well, it's so many things that you see when the people's had the property value went up. And you take people that only had Social Security, the highest they ever get is what, $2,000 a month. But that's the ones that get that much, the ones that had a chance to work a certain amount of years. The poor ones, the ones that weaker, what, but that's $700 a month, and they won't, what?
And did fashion shows and did everything. And then we started doing. We started as a family doing balloon business too.
Can you tell us more about that?
It was a family thing that we started. Everybody in the family did learn how to do some balloon work, and we went to Hilton, Marriott's, and all those places. And I went to them and talked to them. So we did decorating from Marriott to Hilton's, and the whole family would have to decorate for it. And then Harlem Globetrotters. So as a family, we met all the ones that's coming along. Everyone that was knew, everyone else to do something about, we knew and decorated for them when they came to Oakland. Going across the door, you go in the door, and if on the stage, we decorate the stage. And it was just, you decorate the whole hotel. You wouldn't see nothing but balloons and different things. We didn't do flowers at first, yeah. Might have been about 500 people's come in. I don't know how many, because with Maya Angelou, they had the whole ballroom, and I don't know how many. I think they had about 500 tables in the whole place there. And we had to decorate, and we had to make sure that they seen balloons from the minute they walk in the door till the minute they got in the ballroom and everything. Yeah, but not so much centerpieces. Most on the tables, we just had about 3 balloons there, but otherwise it's really decorated otherwise. San Leandro several times. Oh, quite a few times. Yeah, the sausages. Oh, that's right. San Leandro had the sausages and suds every year, and they would decorate the whole street, San Leandro, downtown, and all over. So we decorated for that too. That's when we started decorating, not for just San Leandro, but for other places too.
went to Chicago, left Chicago, got married, came to the Bay Area. But before that, no, when I went to Chicago, this was interesting. I was accepted at 3 different hospitals on the East Coast. And Cook County Hospital was the hospital that I chose to go to, primarily because the other 2 did not have a pediatric unit. And my specialty was maternal child health. And I was there 4 months, and I was promoted to the head nurse. Now, Cook County Hospital has a children's unit all of its own. And it's a hospital within the hospital, you could say. And there was over 500 beds. And they accepted, I think there were 10 different nursing schools that rotated through the pediatric unit. And when I was promoted to a head nurse, those white nurses, now mind you, I was the only person of color at that particular time, and those white nurses just did not like me at all. But that was their problem, not mine. So I just remembered what my sister would and my mom would always say: don't let them put you down, and you know what you know, and just let them know it. That was an experience that was also kind of negative for me. I enjoyed the nursing while I was there.
Can you just share with us what other family values have you passed down to your 3 children, and why those are so important?
The same thing that I was taught, I tried to teach those to my children. Respect, and if you respect yourself, you automatically respect others, and it's just second nature to me to try to help others when you see that they need help. And so I've tried to teach my children to the same thing. To don't let others put you down, but you want to be treated, you want to treat them the way you want to be treated.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, well, my grandfather, I guess, started out when he came from Detroit, Michigan, and landed in Bakersfield and bought the land and started a business and raised chickens and sold eggs. And people thought he was a rich man, but he started that business from picking cotton, the money he got from picking cotton. Just a little bit of money. But he and his wife, my dad and my uncle and his brother, Uncle Ed, they poured the money, and he built that chicken farm and taught my dad that stuff. My dad came to came to Oakland and started plastering, and it was important for him to buy a house. He bought a house and bought another house, and then he bought a large plot of land in Manteca. It was important that he built a house, and he raised farm animals out there and owned the land. And he built the house from scratch. He didn't get any money from the banks. When the house was finished, it was his. The land, he bought the land. Mama said, "What you gonna build that land for?" And he said, "Well, I can build a house on that land." He built that house, and everybody called him Big Bob, the landowner. Everybody went to the house, five acres, and had fun out there. Rode the horses and rode the goats and all that stuff out there. But At the same time, a little after that, we bought the land on East 14th Street and bought all the land. And people tried to, say, oh, I don't know if you're going to, $50,000, woo! My God, where you going to get that kind of money from? So the bank loaned us, I think it was $50,000, and we had to pay $20,000 to get it. And a 20-year loan, which was paid off quite quickly. But that was important to the family, to buy and own their own property. You know, and all of my sons now have their own houses. And we're in the process now of trying to do something not just for the family, but to teach trades to the kids that can't learn trades. And maybe those guys who do have electrical business, give them our people and we'll help pay for that trade.
I was busy all the time. You know, my Sunday school teachers, my parents, they kept, the saying was, iron mind is a devil's workshop. So I was, as a boy, a teenager, I was always busy, you know. My father was always busy. And my father was my role model. My father came out of Pine Bluff, Arkansas, and on the farm where he didn't have lights at all, electricity, and became a master electrician. So so he wired up airplanes for the Navy. He wired up the cockpits. Mm-hmm. So he loved electronics. He loved electronics, and he would talk electronics with my mother all the time. He would and about circuits, and she didn't understand what he was talking about, but she would listen. And as kids, we would listen. We would hear him talk to my mother about circuits. So that's why I told my counselor at Tech that I want to be a chief electrical engineer. And here I'm a 15-year-old black boy telling this white teacher, counselor, that I want to be a chief electrical engineer. Meanwhile, what she's seeing on the black and white TV is the civil rights movement, when they're turning dogs loose on blacks and water hoses and this kind of thing, and blacks are fighting for integration, civil rights, and at Tech, the teachers and the counselors, they thought that I should feel good by just being on the campus with white people. So in other words, I'm not in the same position as the blacks in the South. That they have to face so I didn't have to face the water hoses and so they had this attitude, and I detected as a kid, as a teenager, that they had this condescending attitude. So I developed the attitude to combat that.
I tell people I went to a community meeting in 1994 and I never left. The work that we did with the residents and with other allies was to reduce the impacts of fossil fuels in the community from the port and from the freeways. One of my first projects, I was redesigning the freeway after the 1989 earthquake. That was one of my first really engagements, and how government was trying to not be including of those of us who was most impacted, and how they felt as though they should have all voices on everything that was about replacing this freeway. It was a group of us, and we fought the agenda, fought who was leading the agenda, fought about who was going to get the jobs and the contracts, how to put our people from the West Oakland community at in the construction programs. Also, who was capturing our stories about doing this. So I was, some kind of way, I was asked to be on the Citizens Advisory by our city council person at that, Natalie Bateman. Simultaneously, while I was doing that, I got asked to be on the project for converting the former Army base. Okay, so it's like it was this roller coaster of things. People kept asking me to be at the table to bring that orientation and education that I had learned from being involved about measuring stuff and being able to talk about environmental justice. So that's how this whole thing started rolling out for me. So now, going forward in 2025, 26, I have started working with the Ron Dellums Institute at UC Berkeley. So I'm going to be a community scholar, training the next level of transportation planners, all kinds of planners, engineers, people who go into public service or public policy, planners, architects. How are they supposed to be more including those projects when it comes down to communities like West Oakland? Not just West Oakland, but across the country.
I started high school in 1967, and we were just going into the height of the Vietnam War. My father worked for Naval Air Station, so I always knew when the war was escalating because of the many hours he would have to put in working at Naval Air Station at the time. So we were activists for a lot of things that were going on in Oakland. There were a lot of inequities in Oakland, and we started then challenging the system. And I feel comfortable saying that I was a part of that first group of students that really started challenging the system here in Oakland. It was the formation of the Black Panther Party. We were activists to get Black studies in Oakland public schools. We were activists to get fair access to those students who didn't have the access that we had for one reason or the other. I was a partner to a blind student at Oakland Tech. And in our activism, we were against the war. We were campaigning for a girl's right to wear pants to school. We were campaigning for the 18-year-old right to vote because we strongly believe that if you could go to war and lose your life, you certainly should be allowed to vote in this country. So that was pretty much the foundation. And then I was a part of a class where we were breaking a lot of barriers. I was the first girl to run for student body president at Oakland Tech. And at that time, girls didn't run for student body president. I didn't win, but I paved the way for Cheryl Seabrook, who's now Dr. Aja Tutu, to become the first girl elected student body president at Oakland Tech.
How have the elders in your community impacted you? My name is Jetty Kamal Devers. I was raised in Oakland, and Oakland is my home. Elders in my community have impacted me in great ways. I always enjoy listening to the stories of my grandmothers, my grandparents, one of whom has passed, but they can always pass on some knowledge to me, whether it's about everyday life. For example, my big mama always says, buy cheap and you will repeat. So just simple things like that. And it can also be more things that could help me with my future. I know that my elders have paved the path for me to be where I am today. I was even speaking with an elder in Oakland today on my morning swim, and she was just telling me that as Black people, sometimes we can be conditioned to not ask for what we need and to take a subservient position. But she was saying it is your birthright to ask for what you need and to even demand for what you need and sit there and ask the person in charge exactly what you want and make your boundaries very clear. So that's something that has stuck with me since this morning, and I will carry that on into the future.
When I think of the elders who've impacted my life, I instantly think of my grandmother. Her name is Eula Noble, and she always told me to be kind to everybody, no matter what. And I never really believed it when she told me, because I was like, well, what if people are mean to you first, or what if people are being just rude for no reason? Don't you want to, match their energy, or, give them the same energy that they give you back? And I started to notice, like, throughout my life, if I did walk around with that kindness and that positive spirit, I would get better reactions from people, or I'd be in conversations with strangers I wouldn't ever expect to be in. And I was like, oh, that actually was a good interaction. Or sometimes, it would just surprise me the kind of feedback I'd get from people in my community and folks in my family. So that is a seed that was planted in me, like, probably since I was a kid, and my grandmother still tells me that like, always walk with kindness and always treat everybody with kindness as much as you can. So,
okay. Yeah. Thank you. They've impacted me by making sure that from a young age that I saw where we came from, and it wasn't just all slavery. Made sure I knew about the inventors, and we tried different foods, things like that. So just kind of reconnecting us more to just tragedy. My grandmother, she would always say, keep learning because they can't take your brain away from you. So try to keep that going every day, just learn something different.
He showed me how to have faith in God and to always trust God. And he also showed me what's surprising, like how to eat healthy for real, because he looks really good for his age, and he's very mobile, and he's always positive. He's always nice to everybody. He has a lot of friends, and it's really cute when I see him and his friends, and they're so cute together. And he's also taught me how to love like family, he's very family oriented, and he took care of all my uncles and my auntie after his wife passed away. So he is very strong, and he's a really good dad, and he's a really good grandfather to me. And we pick him up every Sunday, and we take him to church, and he loves church. Yeah, he'd be dancing, he'd be like in the corner, he'd be the usher still. And I think like he really taught me how to just, like, he's really impacted my life on being a positive person and loving life. Like, he just spends every day loving life. Like, when we pick him up, he come in the car, he'd be like, praise God for another day. I'm like, amen, because a lot of people don't do that. And I think that's the reason why their life doesn't go too well. So I think it's good to praise God. And I really love that he's taught me loyalty as well. Like, because there's many times where he could have not, like, a lot, like, sometimes dads be deadbeats and stuff, but he didn't do that to his kids, and he has a lot of them. 10, so so he didn't do that, and he never left us or anything. He's just a mentor to me. Like, he's always there for me,